Welcome to Visual Radio. It is Thursday evening, July 5th, 2012, and we're honored to have Jimmy Church on the phone. Hello, Jimmy.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing good. Honored to be your guest.
Man, I was looking at your website. You are booked all over creation. I've seen.
I do the old stuff. Still do it like I did in 1955, 65, and that's what carried me to today. People still want to hear the old music like it goes.
Do you know how many gigs you've probably performed over the years?
Oh, that's hard to say. That's really hard to say. I wasn't blessed enough to have hit records, so I decided to get the music that the people like that never changed. Everybody likes the old school music.
Yeah, they certainly do.
Look with that format, and I've traveled halfway around the world.
Really?
And the same, still playing Mustang Salad like Mustang Salad. No more than nothing, the same way. And by me being 73, I was born and raised during that time, so I can still do the same, give the same feel that I did in 1965.
Amazing. So
I was talking the other day, all the guys I was on the shows with, I've been on shows with, with Wilson Pickett and Jackie Wilson, Marvin Gaye, Otis Redding, James Brown, all those guys, and all of them gone. And I'm still here. I was talking about the other day, Bobby Hill. We're very close.
now, you know that Bobby was on my third show, August 16th, 1995.
No, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, that's how Bobby and I had been corresponding by mail, but we'd never met until he did my TV show.
Oh, okay.
So that's how I met Bobby in person, and then he did a bunch of my shows, and I'd go around taping him when he performed live.
Okay, Bobby joined my group as we got out of service. We were still in high school. That was 1957. We were still in high school, and Bobby came out of service playing guitar. And because I saw him, when we were younger, we was on his mom and dad used to play on the bus. They were blind, and they used to play the spoon and stuff. We were young, because I knew that. But for meeting him and playing with him, in music, he joined my band. My group. We had a band. We had a group called the Five Seniors that we recorded. We did a record, "Why Did You Leave Me," in 1957. Still in high school, and Bobby came out of service, and we was just astonished the way he played guitar. And man, we were just, got kids. He played just like L. Pauly or the Fire Royals. That was our idol, the Fire Royals. We were pattern after them. And we did a little record and traveled on carnivals and did some Seven Wilson shows. And Bobby played with us. He was a great guy, man. He wrote a song for me that I went to New York and recorded. Kenny Burrell was a guitar player. Sticks Evans was a drummer. Mickey Sylvia was the one that did the session.
Oh, Mickey and Sylvia did the session?
Yeah, Mickey, the one, Mickey Baker.
Right.
Yeah, he did. He was over the session. This was must have been 60. Must have been 50, must have been 59, 58.
And what was the name of the song?
It was on one of those, those albums, those old hits, old songs, you throw in them songs, man. I Wish. And I wrote the other side, was like some kind of little rock and roll song I wrote. But it was on one of those. Back then they had all those songs they put on CD and they sell.
Yep.
It was on one of those things. And Bobby's words were so strong. And the guy, hey man, let's use this word instead of that word. Let's use this word instead of that word. I mean, he was, they're trying to make it more plain. Bobby word were like non-perishable. Let's use another word. Bobby was real deep in his words, man. We were really, in one of my songs I did on my old album, called his name out, on it. We were just friends for a long time, until his death. I was right there the day, hours before he passed. I was right there.
Oh, I'm so glad you were there.
Yeah, they called, the family called me, and Jimmy, I think it's time. So I went there and stayed. We talked and through the night, and he passed 3 hours that morning.
I miss him terribly.
Yeah, he was a great guy, man. He was. One thing about him, he was always the same. Being famous like that, man, having a song that went all, everybody did, you would expect him to be kind of cocky, hey, this is Bob, I'm Bobby L. But I never saw that side of him. He never showed that side to me.
Oh, neither did I. He was always humble.
Very humble. And his family was that way. I mean, his bad family being, blind, and they was playing, singing on the bus, and I guess they came up being raised to be humble, to be thankful. And they stayed with him.
Now, when did you leave me? Did he play guitar on that?
No, that was right before he got with us. Now he recorded the second song we did called the High Fives, and it was called Why Did You Leave Me? What was the name of that song?
Suefoot Slew?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Suefoot Slew was one side, and then Why Did You Leave was the other side. That was our first record when we were still in high school, and Morgan Bell wrote most of the words. He wrote all of Suefoot Sue, and I helped write Why Did You Leave Me? But Bobby came in on, that was on Excello, then Bobby came in, we was on the High Five label. Horse Allen did us, and Bobby was playing with us then. We called ourselves the High Fives. And he played guitar on that. And Bruce Randolph played the sax solo on it. And that's when we went on that tour. Bobby played with us on that tour.
So was that called the Seniors or still the High Fives?
It was the High Fives then.
Oh, but it wasn't Suefoot Slew.
No, Suefoot Slew with the Seniors.
That was the Seniors.
Yeah, that was the Seniors. One guy wasn't a senior in high school. He was a junior, but the rest of us were seniors.
Oh, I get it. So Bobby wasn't in the Seniors.
He wasn't in the Seniors. He was High Fives.
Okay, got it now.
Yeah, he joined the Seniors. We had already did the first record, and he came in on the second record. That's when he joined the group.
Was that out on Excello?
Oh, that was on some label out of I think it was on some label out of Louisiana. Back during that time, the Horse Allen would cut us, and he'll sell the masters of this company. They'll take it, and you never hear no more. How to, write stuff off, But
that was good experience.
Yeah, great experience, man. I've done a lot of writing, and I wrote a song for Big Al Downey back in the day, and did some stuff on the charts. I never got a dime from anything. Only money I ever got from writing was A Cup Rose. They gave me similar little check every year for years. Similar little check, It was the only company that ever paid me for writing. I did a lot of writing for a lot of different people, and never got any. Because when you're young, you just somebody taking your song, and you don't really know the business end of it, and until you get older and say, oh man, look where that goes, But that's just part of life, and I learned a lot, and I'm blessed to still be here. All my friends, close friends are gone, man. That made the record hits and stuff.
Yeah.
Favorite guy, I'm gonna tell you who my favorite guy was, Jackie Wilson.
Oh yeah?
I favored him in my younger days. He was a little older, and his picture looked like his picture, his young picture. And we were on a tour with Henry Wynn. You ever heard of Henry Wynn?
No.
Supersonic Attractions? That was before your time. I'm taking you back, man.
I was born in 54.
I'm taking you back. He used to have shows out, Jackie Wilson and Sam Cooke and, all the acts. He would send them out on shows.
Wow.
And he would, one show I did with him, you've heard of Gorgeous George?
Nope.
You've heard of Gorgeous George?
Nope.
Okay, he was an MC that MC'd all those shows, and in fact, he works with the Isley Brothers now. He's their MC and stuff. But Jackie would we tried to travel on the bus, but Jackie, he had a limousine, and he called me his little brother and had me to drive, ride in this limousine when I'm around the bus, and he would take me, and we would go pull up to a Coliseum, pull in, and because I'd get out, I look more like him on this picture. He was a little older then, see. And the kids would run, Jackie, and then he'd get out and look at him. So, well, which one of y'all? He said, that's Jackie right there. He pointed at me. He was really nice. He was really nice. He taught me a lot. And he's the reason why I got a band.
Really?
Because I was just a solo artist, And I was singing, and once I saw how great he was, how he sounded, how he danced, how he choreographed, the talent he had, I said, man, I need to if I want to work on longevity, I need to give me a band, make sure I work, because he just blew me out the box. His talent, the way he just, only thing about him, he just drank a lot. He drank, and he was a great guy. And he's one of the guys. I will do some things, man. In '64, when the Isley Brothers had a brand new, I never forget, they had a brand new white Cadillac. And Bob Ryder, you don't know him, but Bob Ryder was a writer, and he wrote for a lot of people. And he had me I'm in Nashville now. This is in Charlotte.
Okay.
And back then, wasn't no interstate now. You had to drive all the way over there, around the mountains to go to Charlotte.
Whoa.
And Bob said, hey, Church, take me over there, man. I'm going to get you on this show. It was the Isley Brothers and this guy named Stevens, a lot of different acts on there. Ray Stevens, he was on there. And I'm going to get you on the show, man. And the Isley Brothers going to back you up. That band going to back you up. So he had me, had me drive over there. I paid over there, had me drive him over there. He going to pay me back, right?
Yep.
I got over there. I'll never forget. He said, he had run out. He said, we got Jimmy Church here. He's going to sing. They looked around and said, we out of brothers. We don't back nobody up. He stood there, got me over there, knew that these people, never even talked to him or nothing. Got me over there and then drove all the way back, and he still didn't pay me.
Whoa.
And then when I signed with Henry Wynn, I got a same deal. I went all the way went to Carolinas from Nashville. I had my band then. I come off the tour, I had my band. Got my band.
The Jimmy Church Band?
Jimmy Church Band. After I left, Jackie told me, if I left that show, so I'm going to get me a band. And I got me a band. And the band I got was let's see. The guy that played bass for Hendrix.
Billy Cox.
Billy Cox. See, when I got back, Billy Cox, it was Billy Cox, Jimi Hendrix, Harold Nesbitt, and Larry Lee. Larry Lee played guitar for Hendrix one time on that what's that big thing he did? What he did, Star Spangled Banner?
Woodstock.
Yeah. Larry Lee played with them. Well, the band was Larry Lee, Billy Cox, Jimi Hendrix, Harold Nesbitt on drums, and I was a vocalist, And so how I got my band, once Hendrix left, and then it was Cox, kept the band. And then when Hendrix got a break and everything, then he called Cox to come. And when Cox left, that's how I took the band over, and they called it my band.
And what was the band before that?
We were called, man, I can't remember what we called. It was just, but I tell you though, I'm going to tell you something. What kept the band together was Larry Lee. Larry Lee played guitar for Al Green.
Oh, okay.
That's one of his, it's a long time until he got sick. And he passed, because he passed away. But he was a great guitar player, and he the one kept, Hendrix played a lot of real weird stuff.
Yeah.
And nobody really knew what it was. Back then, nobody knew, hey, you need to play this song like a record, And he was playing all this weird stuff. One time he busted the speaker, and he said, Church, listen to this, man. I said, what do you mean, man? The speaker's busted. He said, no, but it's a tone that you don't hear this tone. That was before the fuzz came out. He was hearing a fuzz tone through the busted speaker. I mean, he was just way out there. But he was a very nice, humble guy, just weird. His ideas were way before we didn't know what he was. And, and he was, if it weren't for Larry Lee, we wouldn't have had no sounding band at all. But anyway, that's how I got my band. Cox took me his band. And I
see.
Band up.
And what was the drummer's name? Harold what?
So, Harold Nesbitt.
N-E-S-M-I-T-H?
N-E-S-B, Nesbitt. N-E-S-B-I-T-T, I think.
Nesbitt. Okay.
Yeah, Harold Nesbitt. Big drummer, man. He's passed too. The only one still living out of that band is Cox and myself. Larry Lee passed, he passed, Jimmy Hendrix passed, so only one left is Cox and myself. Out the band, only Cox.
There's a new Jimi Hendrix coming out in 3 or 4 days, live at Berkeley, a DVD.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Sony sends me the records, so I review them.
Uh-huh. Oh, okay. Playing on them. Him?
It's Jimi Hendrix with, it might be Billy Cox, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I should know these things, but...
Yeah, I got you.
Too much information, Jimmy?
Hendrix, man, he was a, one thing about Hendrix nobody never said about Hendrix, they really hooked him up to Nashville, but he really didn't do anything in Nashville. I mean, nobody respected him in Nashville because he really couldn't play our kind of music that we were used to, copying the records. He wasn't no copy guy. But, if you couldn't copy, then you can work. Because people want to hear the records. They don't want to hear no weird sounds. So when he actually left, nobody really thought he would ever do anything. Then when we heard about him, being, great as he was, we were just, our minds, everybody just dropped their jaws. That's Jimi Hendrix, man. What? But who took him away from here?
Who?
Gorgeous George. If Gorgeous George hadn't taken him away from Nashville, because all he did was just walked around Nashville, had a guitar. They didn't have no case for a guitar. Had a little room that they would let him stay in, and he was playing, and because this guy's service, him and Cox, and he couldn't get how to get no gigs because he couldn't play, the cover songs.
Yeah.
He played a little bit here, a little bit there, but he was just way out there. His thoughts and his playing, and he had to always have another guitar player with him. And so when Gorgeous George came to town, he was on all them shows I was telling you about. He was MC on all these big shows, and they came through here, and he saw him, and he asked me, Church, who's that guy? That's Hendrix, man. He's weird cat, man. He said, I like him. I like his way he do, man. I'm gonna take him with me, and then to be my guitar player when I come out and MC and do a number. And he talked to Hendrix, and Hendrix said, yeah, you want to do nothing here? I said, yeah, man. And he took Hendrix with him. That's how Little Richard saw him. That's how Little Richard met him. That's how the Isley brothers saw him. Ernie Isley, they used to play with Ernie Isley and stuff.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And all that comes from George taking him out of Nashville. And George never got no escalade. He never got any kind of due. Every time all these memos and all these books and all these movies and all these commentaries, documentaries, they talk to Hendrix, they never talk about Gorgeous George.
Now, did Gorgeous George MC a lot of your shows?
Yeah, he always emceed those big shows, like, you know, like Jackie Wilson on them, or, you know, Aretha Franklin, all them big stars he would book. George emceed all those stuff. Now, he and I, you know, he would come and, you know, do some things with me when he was off tour. He worked with me, you know, showed me how to do a lot of stuff. You know, he could dance. He real colorful, you know, sharp, long hair, dancing, doing the splits and dancing over chairs and backflips and stuff. You know, he was really exciting guy, you know. And he's the one, you know, and he didn't realize, you know, nobody realized that he was thinking like he did, you know. And he gave him his guitar away when he left and went. He left. He had his amp and guitar. And you know, he gave it away because, you know, he didn't know that, you know, he was going to be big. And next thing you know, he went to England. Next thing you know, boom. He got, you know, band of gypsies. Amazing.
When you left the High Fives to join Jackie Wilson.
Yeah, when I left the High Fives, I went on that tour.
So what were you doing on the tour? Singing?
I was singing. You know, I did to see Johnny Jones. You ever heard of Johnny Jones?
I think so.
Johnny Jones had a big influence on Hendrix too, because he would come down and listen to Johnny Jones. So I was a vocalist for Johnny Jones, and he had one of, you know, real great band, real good band, and we played around town, and then when this tour, that Jackie Wilson tour, came up, he wanted Johnny's band to play. You know, it was Peachtree Records. Ever heard of Peachtree Records?
No.
Okay, that's out of Atlanta. We all had to go be on Peachtree Records. You ever heard of William Bell?
Oh yeah.
Okay, William Bell was the president. He the one did, you know, recorded us and everything. Recorded George and all. He recorded us and did on this thing, and so we could make this tour. That's how I left and signed with them. But I was with John R. You ever heard of John R?
Yes, from Bobby.
I was with John R. and John R. let me out, and I signed with them, and that's how that's how I got with Jackie Wilson, and that's how I got to touring with it. And the Impressions was on that show. I don't know. You might have heard about it. You know, his rhythm section got killed on that show.
No.
Impressions. And some of Johnny's guys, through his horn players, got killed with him. We was on that tour, that Jackie Wilson tour. You ever heard of Harrison Calloway?
No.
Harrison Calloway was one of the Muscle Shoals horns. You heard of Muscle Shoals?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, he's one of the Muscle Shoals. He's still living. He got into the van and got out because they didn't want to go. They were going to get some weed, and he didn't want to waste his money because they had sent his money home because they're going to take his car, and he sent his money home. He got out of the car. He said, "I ain't going to waste my money." And he's alive today by getting out of that car. Well, I was standing right there looking. They were all talking and, you know, laughing and joking. And that was a real tragedy on that show. Johnny had to get new horn players to come and sit in and play. And it was just really, you know, it wasn't the same, you know, because all of Curtis Mayfield's band, the whole band died in that crash. You didn't hear about that?
No, it was a little before my time.
Right after '66.
Oh, so it was a crash?
Yeah, the guy, it was a crash. They're traveling in a van. They didn't ride in the bus. They traveled in a van and a trailer, and they were going to get some weed, and they didn't want to. The guys got off the bus to get in the van with Chris Mayfield. Rhythm section all perished in that crash.
Wow. That's awful.
Right, the whole that was it. I mean, that was really, one of my worst moments, you know, that happened. You know, that you talking to these guys, and the next day, I think 7 of them gone. You know, that was.
So, Jimmy, what years was it Johnny Jones in the Jackie Wilson tour?
That tour, I think, was in '60s.
Early 1960s.
66 or 67
Oh, okay.
or 68, somewhere along in there.
Oh, so it was after Sonny hit.
Was Sonny hit there? That it might have been during that time. Because when Bobby left, all of a sudden, that song came out. I think it was around 60. I think Bobby's song came out then, around that time, I think.
Yeah, 66.
Yeah, I think it was around that time.
Now, Excello Records, I know Bobby did session work for John Lee Hooker.
Right.
Do you know, was that the 45 on Battle?
I don't know, but that was Excello was like the major blues label out of Nashville, the R&B label, Excello. That was the label in Nashville for the black music. Excello Records.
Because Bobby told me he played some overdubs for John Lee Hooker.
He probably did. See, back then they only had like 4 tracks. You know?
Yeah.
You know, at one time you could only do something 4 things at one time, and then you had to go back and do it over. He probably did. Bobby was very, very talented with his guitar. I mean, you know, back then, you know, he had that, you know, just had the knowledge, he just had the feel, and you know, he was really, you know, when he went with us on that, you know, we was all young and didn't know, man, but he was, you know, it was just a fun thing. You know, I was excited, and you know, it was great.
Well, on Battle Records, there's a John Lee Hooker disc, and then there's Bobby and Sylvia. So Sylvia Robinson cut a song with Bobby.
Yeah. When he went, that's when he left it. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to know. So I'm wondering if it's if he's on that Hooker track because it's the one right directly before his. I don't know, but I have both records.
Right. Right.
Now, John Lee Hooker played here up in the Boston area 38 years ago, Jimmy.
Oh, yeah?
And the DVD just came out, and they asked me to write the liner notes. I got it in my hand. I'm holding it up for the audience. But the anniversary is tomorrow, July 6, 1974.
Oh, wow.
So one of these TV shows like mine, 38 years ago, it taped John Lee, a 3-camera shoot, and it's now a DVD.
Right.
Isn't that amazing?
Right.
A friend of mine had taped it, and he came to me, so I wrote the liner notes. And I was able to retrieve the date and a photo from the concert from the newspaper. One of the newspapers found an old article, so we put it in the DVD.
Whoa, man.
I'm very excited because, you know, it's an honor to write for John Lee, you know.
Right.
And his estate is very happy that they now have a live concert of him out. It came out June 19th, but the anniversary is tomorrow.
Okay.
So
Are those guys still living?
John Lee's not with us anymore.
So all of the old guys, the Howlin' Wolf, all of them gone, right?
Yeah.
Howlin' Wolf.
Thank God Buddy Guy's still alive.
Buddy Guy, yeah.
I worked with Buddy back in 1986.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Before I met Bobby,
Huh.
I worked with Buddy Guy. I'm trying to think. We just lost someone. Hubert Sumlin we just lost.
I don't think I knew him.
Hubert played with, I think he played with Muddy Waters.
Oh, okay, okay.
Or Howlin' Wolf. He was one of their main guitar players. And
Oh, okay.
he had a great record out with Keith Richards and a lot of very important people playing with him.
Hey, okay, that's great, yeah.
Did you ever play with John Lee?
No.
Okay.
Never did doing, only blues person I ever played with was Johnny Jones.
Okay.
Yeah, he was the only blues. So I never did. I was mostly on those R&B shows, which like Pickett and those kind of guys,
Now, did you ever tour with Roscoe Shelton?
Oh, no, I never toured with him. Roscoe was we were close. He was right here in Nashville, and he was a gospel singer. And I went and did a tour, my last tour, because my last tour I think was in the '80s, was '96. I mean 206. I think it was 206, 205, 206. He had cancer, and
Okay.
they had a tour made up, and he couldn't go, and I went in his place. and he died not long after that.
Oh. Bobby turned me on to his music, so I wrote a lot of reviews for a company called allmusic.com.
Uh-huh.
They're on the web, allmusic.com. And so I wrote Roscoe Shelton reviews because Bobby turned me on to his music.
Right.
And it seems to me that Otis Redding and Wilson Pickett got a lot of their vocal chops right from Roscoe.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I don't know. I'm just guessing from listening to his records, which came before Wilson's and Otis's, I believe.
See, Roscoe came after them.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a gospel singer. And he just started singing, R&B all of a sudden. Because he really was into the gospel field. And he was like, because he was after the other guy named Larry Birdsong and a guy named Gene Allison. You ever heard of Gene Allison?
No.
Okay, those guys had hit records out back in the 50s. And Roscoe then started singing to, I think, the 80s, I think.
Oh, no. Roscoe was, Bobby had written a song, My Best Friend, for him back on Excello.
Back then?
Oh, yeah. So I believe he's before Otis and Wilson.
Man, I mean, that's something, I'm right here and didn't know that.
Yeah, because these records were on Excello. And there's a song called My Best Friend written by Bobby Hebb.
In the 60s?
Yes, in the early 60s. I'm going to mail you the reviews. I'm going to get them down to you.
Man, I didn't know that. Oh, that's something I didn't know.
Because if you listen closely, and if it's on Excello, so I would assume it's before them, you can hear the inflections that they would later pick up.
Oh,
that's my opinion.
You could be totally right.
I'm the youngster. I'm only 58.
Oh man.
But I studied this stuff.
I remember 50. I don't even remember when I was 58.
Do you know who sent me your music? Was Michael Gray.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Wonderful.
He loves old school music. He's the one really keeping old school, the night train thing. I mean, he's the only guy, and another guy was with him, left and went to California. He's the only one here now that try to keep promoting, the old school music, the soul music.
Yep. And
he did a night train thing, and all these old guys, they're gone now. They came out and they had stopped singing altogether. Groups, everybody stopped singing. And then he brought this night train in, and these guys came back out of the woodwork.
Well,
and started back singing, because what Michael did. It was a great thing.
Thank God he did that, because, Ruth Brown and Bobby did a radio interview. And now Ruth is gone.
Right.
And Bobby's gone. And so Michael Gray really gave them some good presence again.
Right. That was, and he's the only one now in Nashville that really, cares anything about the old, kind of keep the old music in folks' faces, Yeah, Michael's a good guy. Yeah, great guy.
Oh, I like him a lot. No, he was very helpful, and he told me that, I could talk to you, and that's why I contacted you. And
right.
Here we are, and, Bobby was a very close friend of mine.
Yeah.
And I think it's very important.
Bobby. Okay, Bobby, you are the one now coming together. When Bobby was sick,
yep,
I was going to do a thing with him. I said, Bobby, let's do a thing. I had a club. I said, Bobby, would you come and we'll do a thing, man, put you to the club, and making an old of a goodie thing, and he told me this when I first found he was sick. He said, Jimmy, won't be honest, man, I'm not strong enough to do any more shows. And that's when I realized that he was really sick.
Yeah.
And then he just like this went down, man. I mean, and then it just went so fast. Because, we was always talking. We talked all the time. And I go see him, and, we talk. Another guy named Lindsay Page, you know, he was one of the groups in school. We'd go by and we'd talk to him and stuff. And then he was playing his music and playing, you know, piano and doing church. Listen to this, what I'm working on now. I mean, you know, he was still active.
Oh, yeah, he was writing a song for President Obama called Breeze.
Yeah, he was still active.
Yeah, did you hear Breeze?
No, I didn't.
It's only an instrumental because he
And,
played it.
I want to sing you something. I wrote a thing for President Obama. Are you in? You know, Michelle asking, are you in?
Yeah.
I'm going to send you. I'm gonna, you know, email it to you. Let you hear it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you'll get a kick out of it. If I'm glad you brought that up, I'll email that to you on your site. You just, you know, pull it up and listen to it.
Now, did you know Little Willie Brown?
No, I knew Little Willie John. I didn't know Little Willie Brown.
Little Willie Brown went to high school with Bobby, so it's probably a couple of years ahead of you.
Bobby was, we were the same age though. I mean, Bobby a year older than me.
Well, he would be this year on July 26th. He would be 75 or 76.
Bobby that old?
He was 73 when he died in 2010. Yes, he was born in 1938, July 26, 1938.
I was born in 1939.
Okay.
So I'm 73. I just turned 73, so he'd be 74. If he's born in 38, he'd be 74 in July.
Okay.
He's still right. See, he's still 73 like I am.
Right. So he was 72 when he died. 71 when he died.
71. Now when I know we were the same age, and then but he's a month. Actually, I think he's a month. Actually, a month. I mean, 11 months older than me, because I think his birthday was 26th of July, wasn't it?
Yeah, July 26th.
Yes, I was June 26th, and he was born in July 26th of the next year.
Oh, so you were born June 26th. Wow.
Yeah. And he was born July 26th. So we were 11 months apart. We always talked about that. We were 11 months. You know, we was 11 months apart, and he was 1 month being a year apart. You know, we talked about that. Yeah, because I thought, you know, he just be 74. He's just 73 now.
Right, he'd be turning 74.
Right. Yeah.
Too young.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm just a blessed. You know, I think, one thing I can say, being around all the great stars real mega stars, and being a part of that, seeing how they live and traveling and being around them, and the life is such a toll on you. It's really hard to just, grow older and be all right. Because there's so much is consumed of you. You got to, you have to either take some kind of pills, you either got to do some drinking, or you either got to do something to maintain the stamina, just in and out, in and out, in and out. And so I never drank, never smoked, or never took any drugs. And I could see how they just wear them down. And like Jackie was just drinking, I was just, beat the man. How can you stand it, But that's what you have to just maintain. You have to just do something to maintain. That's why most artists, took drugs or did something, and it's a hard life. And I'm just thankful that maybe that's why God didn't let me be a big star, for me to live longer and, do something small and keep going. Because, it was like, to seeing these guys, man, Marvin Gaye was a great guy. He was a great guy. And I never forget, he told me, he said, Jimmy, he said, always sing to ugly women. Don't sing to them pretty women. So they're always going to beg. They're going to want to beg to come in your place. You sing to them ugly ones, the big ones, they'll buy you records. They'll pay to get in. They're not going to ask for nothing. He was a good guy too. He wasn't no phony. He was straight up, just a regular guy.
I love Marvin.
But he stayed high though, man. He was, man. But he was a good guy.
Have you heard him do Sonny?
No.
Oh, he did a great version of Sonny.
Oh, I didn't.
I'm going to send it to you on email.
I can pull it up. Yeah,
Yeah, go to YouTube, Marvin Gaye Sonny.
I pull it up. Yeah, I go to YouTube, pull it up. Yeah. Oh, he did something.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Other guy, man, you know, they were Jackie Wilson. These guys singers. You know what I'm saying? They're singers, you know. And unless you're really a singer, you know, do something else.
Well, here's a beautiful thing about Marvin Gaye doing Sonny. It doesn't sound like Marvin. He does something with his voice where he's, I don't know if he's emulating Bobby or what, but it will not sound like the usual Marvin Gaye that you're used to.
Oh, okay.
So it's very, very nice. I love all of Marvin, but it's, you know, you're listening and saying, who is that? That's so familiar, because he doesn't do it in the trademark Marvin Gaye style.
Right.
But it's Marvin. And, you know, Motown did a lot of Sonny. The Four Tops did Sonny.
I didn't know that.
Mary Wells, my guy, she did Sonny.
Wow.
There's two versions by Stevie Wonder. There's a live version and a studio version. You could pull them up on YouTube. And then, of course, Melba Moore did Sonny. She's singing on the background on Bobby Hebb's record.
Oh, man, you know, this is something that Bobby never told me that.
Did you know it was Ashford and Simpson and Melba Moore as the backing singers?
Oh.
Yeah. Nick Ashford, Valerie Simpson, and Melba Moore are singing on Bobby Hebb's Sonny. They're the voices. Sonny, that's them.
Now, who produced him? I mean, who?
Jerry Ross, one of my guests. He's a good friend of mine.
Did Bobby just go play it for him, or did he say, Bobby, let's do it this way? Or did Bobby already have it together? How did that come about?
Well, did you know Ben Tucker?
No.
Okay, so Bobby, this young guy who's now Bobby's manager, Eric Kolodny, was maybe 23 years old. He's Cy Coleman's nephew.
Okay.
So Bobby said 45 publishers had turned down Sonny. Eric Kolodny signed it to Cy Coleman's Notable Publishing. And then it came out in Japan with Miyako Hirota. The Connie Francis of Japan did it. And in 1965, David Pike, the vibraphone player, he did a version on Atlantic. Then in 1966, Jerry Ross and Bobby put out Bobby's version, and that hit. But there were a couple of versions out before Bobby's.
Was it like Bobby's or a different version?
Well, the Miyako Hirota is very jazz. Sounds like a nightclub with a little lilting piano, nothing like the hit.
Okay.
And the vibraphone version is just an instrumental by Dave Pike. So when Bobby and Jerry Ross did their version, it's very pop. And, you know, Ashford and Simpson and Melba Moore, they worked a lot with Jerry Ross. Jerry did Spanky and Our Gang, Jay and the Techniques,
Okay.
Keith 98.6, and he wrote, I'm gonna make you love me.
Oh, yeah?
Jerry Ross wrote that with Gamble and Huff,
Okay.
with Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff.
Okay.
I think it was those two, yeah. Because he discovered Kenny Gamble, and then Kenny started working with Leon Huff.
Okay, that was a Philadelphia sound, wasn't it?
That's right.
But now, Diana Ross did that, didn't she?
Yep, Diana Ross did it, but the first one was Dee Dee Warwick, I believe, Dion's sister.
Oh, okay.
So Dee Dee Warwick did it, and, who else did it? Madeline Bell. She was with Doris Troy. Just one look.
Yeah, I know. Doris Troy. Yeah.
Doris was a good friend of mine, you know.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We lost Doris 5-6 years before Bobby.
Oh, okay.
She was wonderful.
Other thing, so they just took Bobby and did it like that, and what do them other people think?
Well, you know, Jerry Ross just does amazing work. I love his production. You know.
No, they put the song out. No other people turned it. Now, did Bobby sing it like this when they turned it down, or did they have somebody else singing it?
Well, I don't know, because he had the sheet music. I don't know how it was back then. I know that Jerry Ross cut demos. He cut 10 or 11 demos.
Okay.
And there's a version of Sonny. So I've never heard it, but Jerry's going to let me hear it. We might use it on the Bobby Hebb box set.
Oh, okay.
So Jerry did demos with Bobby, but I don't know how portable, notable. I got to ask Eric Kolodny that.
That's amazing. I didn't really know that. You know, that it was turned down like that.
Oh yeah, Bobby said a lot of people turned it down, and then Eric Kolodny picked it up. So it just shows you Well, remember the Jack London book, The Call of the Wild? Over 60 publishers turned that book down. So all these classics get, I guess they don't lose any money when they say no. Hey, they turned the Beatles down, Now, Jimmy, I do a lot of investigating, right? I may have found a tape of Bobby Hebb performing opening for the Beatles in 1966. Okay?
Ooh.
I have one from Toronto, but this is a better one. That the Beach Boys producer actually did the sound. And so we're negotiating to get that for the box set. So we're out there looking for more Bobby Hebb material, And it's a very exciting time, and we have to keep his memory alive.
Right.
And
You did what is song? My Dear on the high fives. He played guitar on that. That's a country song. My dear, can you hear me calling you?
so Bobby's on guitar.
Yeah, he's on guitar.
And is he on the other side, the flip side?
Yeah, he's on flap side. Yeah,
Oh, good.
both sides. Yeah, he's on both sides.
And then the I Wish he wrote for you. I got to hear that.
Yeah, I wish I would. I wish. Yeah, he wrote that. And when I went to Horse Allen sent me to New York for them to cut it. And the other side was teenage lover, teenage something. I think it was teenage lover or something. I wrote the other side of it, but Bobby wrote the main side. I wish.
Wow. I've had so much fun talking to you, Jimmy.
Okay.
If you ever I'm looking at your itinerary. You're in Alabama, Kentucky,
Yeah.
Tennessee, Montana? No, St. Louis, Missouri.
Yeah.
Indiana,
Yeah.
Paris, Tennessee.
I go to Dallas. I go to Palm Beach. I go to New York. I go to California. All of them are weddings.
Yeah.
99% of them are weddings, and I do a birthday party. I did a birthday party in what's that part up there? It's not Boston, but it's outside of Boston. I can't think. The grandchild of Campbell Soup. She turned 80,
Don't know.
and we did a birthday party for her. I can't. It's one of those somewhere where you go across the water, and one of those I can't think. It's up that way somewhere.
When you come up to New York, I want to come down and see the band.
Okay, the last time we was there, we was at the Colony Club. You know where the Colony Club is?
No.
Okay, it's on Broadway. And
Oh.
that's one. New York, we played New York about 3 or 4 times, and we've been blessed to stay downtown. Last time we stayed with this Doubletree. The other time I think we stayed was at I think it was the Marriott or whatever. And man, I'm telling you, I'm somebody to see people walking up and down the street 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning, just strolls, just walking up and down. It just amazes me. All those people. That is a city that never sleeps.
It is. It truly is.
I mean, it's amazing.
Well, you got to come up to Boston maybe and play.
Yeah, I haven't been to Boston. Some friends of mine have been to Boston, but we've never been to Boston. But my itinerary will be up, and so I mean that way, New York, check me out.
Oh, yeah, I'll come down.
I already got an offer to go to New York, come to New York, but I think it's next year.
Well, let me know because I'd love to see you play.
I will.
Do you do Sonny in the set?
I do Sonny on like we do a dinner set, like
Yep.
little jazz tunes.
Yeah.
I do like Sonny and some Frank Sinatra songs and Stevie Wonder songs, Sunshine of My Life, stuff for cocktails and stuff when people bring the show out.
Sounds great, man.
Yeah.
Well, we're just about out of time. Jimmy, it's been an honor talking to you.
Honor having me, man. Appreciate it, man.
No, I'm going to stay in touch if you don't mind.
Hey, no problem.
All right, thanks, Jimmy.
Thanks a lot.
All right.
Hey, bye-bye.
Bye. The great Jimmy Church. I am so honored. What a great interview. Here on WinCam's Visual Radio, Thursday night, July 5th. Tomorrow is the 38th anniversary of this John Lee Hooker concert which was part of public access. Boy, that was a great interview. Played with Hendrix, Jackie Wilson. Amazing, amazing man. We are blessed to talk to such great people. And tomorrow night, we have a movie we showed back in November.
Illustrino, talking about movies.
Hey, Frank.
How's it going? We haven't got much time left, I guess, huh?
We got 5 minutes.
Hey.
And it's I'll tell you, next week we got My Favorite Brunette, and then Shame the week after that.
All right.
But I will email you them.
Okay, very good.
And you know what movie this is tomorrow night at 9.
That is the 1932 A Farewell to Arms with Gary Cooper and Helen Hayes. And I just watched it to refresh my memory, and I'm always struck by the camera work of this movie, so I'll mention the cinematographer's name. And in our show, we don't give enough credit to cinematographers, but
That's right.
this has a very haunting look, and the cinematographer's name is Charles Lang, and most people have never heard of him, but the cinematographers have. He was one of the greats of the 1930s, and he had quite a style, and I urge people to pay attention to the camera angles. There's subjective shots. There's one haunting shot when Gary Cooper is flat on his back on a stretcher, and he's led through the hospital. So you see the ceilings and people looking down on him. But there's shots like that all through the movie, kind of haunting camera angles, and it's really effective. It's got a German feel to it, what I call a German feel, and that means making good expressionistic use of shadows and light. It's not you wouldn't call it a brightly lit film. Most of the scenes are kind of dim. There's shadows in it, and it's very effective. And it was surprising. I didn't, you don't get the impression, except for Gary Cooper, you wouldn't get the impression you were watching an American movie. The director was, and I'm ashamed to say I've never heard his name spoken out loud. His name was Frank Borghese. Maybe that's how he pronounced it. And he was born in America, in Utah, but his father was Italian and his mother was Swiss, and this movie takes place in Italy and Switzerland. So it's like a homecoming for him. And he was a great director of the early 30s, and he dealt with a lot of touchy topics. And Hemingway's novel had some elements in it that didn't square well with 1930 censorship. And I think I remember reading about it. I didn't have a lot of time in this. A lot of that was filmed, but they had to cut it or change it or whatever because it was out of wedlock pregnancy, and some of the details of the pregnancy were a bit too explicit for 1930, so that was changed. I understand they filmed 2 separate endings, one a happy and one a sad, and Hemingway got wind of it, and the book has a sad ending, and I've never read the book, I must admit, but he didn't want the typical Hollywood ending, and he was able to prevail. Writers don't usually have a lot of swing in Hollywood, even a man of Hemingway's stature, but somehow he got the true ending put in.
Tenacity more than fame.
Maybe, and this is the first adaptation of a Hemingway novel. And the first of many, so, The Sun Also Rises, Hemingway's Adventures of a Young Man, The Killers, also, all sorts of things were made from his works, but it all starts here.
Now, let me ask a question. The happy ending, do you think it's still on a shelf, or it just never got filmed?
As far as I know, it was filmed. For all I know, the version you're showing, they had the happy ending. I don't know. I understand it was, in the major cities, where it was released with a sad ending, and out in the more rural areas, away from the cities, they gave it the happy ending.
Oh, so he didn't prevail totally.
I don't think so. I mean, I'm not the expert on that, and if any of your audience knows, they should call in and give the whole story. But there's probably a lot of history here that I don't know, so I shouldn't go any deeper into it. But this is the classic gripe of novelists, that Hollywood would take their novels and fit them into a formula. And some great movies were made that supposedly the novelists didn't care for at all, but as one not wise man once said, it was my book, but it's their movie. So, they paid the money for the rights, they can do what they want with it.
And that's our show for tonight, Frank Delestrito.
Talk to you soon. Next week I'll be calling you from Alaska because I'm not in town next week.
All right. We'll
Bye-bye.
talk from Alaska. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Jimmy Church, Frank Delastrita, what a great night. Man, we need 6 hours to do an overnight. Visual Radio, July 5th.